In this video, we're going to show how you can safely import data using Bauplan and an agent. We'll be covering the ID environment and the Bauplan Skills plugins for Claude, importing S3 data to a feature branch, inspecting that feature branch data, and merging to a main branch, then appending new S3 data to the created table. The first thing I want to highlight is in our right terminal, we have Claude Code. And in our left browser, we have a UV project that just has an initial UV init. And this gives us everything we need to get started. Another thing you can do is you can go to Bauplan's Skills GitHub repo. And there it has instructions on how you can actually import the skills via the Anthropic marketplace. Once you do that, you can then actually check if the skills are installed properly through Claude Code. From here, we'll input a prompt that I put together. This prompt is going to read a Parquet from an S3 bucket I have, and it's going to use the skill that I brought in from Bauplan's GitHub repo. It's asking if we want to use the skill, and then from here, it's going to ask us a series of other questions about this data before it proceeds and moves forward. So as you can see, it's asking for the table name, it's giving a suggestion, and then it's also asking about the validation. What situation are you in? Do you not know much about the data? Do you want to check it, or do you want to check after? I'm going to tell it I want to call the data streaming data test, and for 2, I will add checks after I build the pipeline. From here, Claude's going to actually create the script it's going to use to import the data. This is a durable artifact we can use again. We'll say yes to this, and it will build the script over in our local folder. We'll say yes to running the script, and from here, it will start to move the data from the S3 bucket over to the branch. You can see here the import was successful, 109,000 rows. It landed into a feature branch that it created. The data is isolated on the feature branch, and Claude is now telling us that when we're ready, we can inspect the data, merge to main, and then we can delete the branch after. First thing we'll do is inspect. Claude's going to put together a very simple query for Bauplan where it's going to look at the table on the feature branch it created. We'll tell it to go ahead and run this. It's going to run this command and it's going to do some initial thinking around what it sees. So you can see here the schema. It has 13 columns. It has the user data. It shows the metadata and it has activity timestamps. Just a nice breakdown. The rows look correct and the data looks clean. So let's go ahead and merge this feature branch into my main branch. Claude's going to put together a series of Bauplan commands. We'll say yes. Go ahead and proceed. It's going to note that it needs to check out to another branch to merge. We'll say yes to that. And then from here, it'll say, do you want to finally merge this feature branch into your main branch? We will say yes to that. And then finally, we will delete the feature branch. And now we'll do a final select count just to sanity check this data and verify that it is on the main branch we merged it into. Great. And as you can see, it merged into that and we were able to validate it with the query and the temporary branch has been cleaned up. Let's take a look at the artifact that was created by Claude to ingest the data. You can see here that it is using the Bauplan SDKs and it is leveraging a template in the skill file that we brought into Claude. It creates a nice, clean, reusable script that we can have Claude reference again in the future when we ask it to do a similar task. If we move over to Bauplan's UI, we can actually validate this visually as well. So let's go to my branch and we'll look up the streaming data test table. Here we can see the metadata is showing up for this table and there's a data preview giving us a chance to visually just validate that yes, we do see this data here and this is how it looks. Okay, let's go back to Claude again and let's clear this chat we just did. We're going to put another prompt in, and this time it is going to read yet another Parquet file from my S3, but we're going to tell Claude to append it this time to the table that we just made. Now, Claude can now reference the artifact we made previously with our ingestion of the original data into the table that we made, and it can tell that that's already there. So Claude will read this initial file that it created to import our original data. It'll use it to create a new artifact it can use. We'll say yes to that. And then it will read that file. It'll edit the project.toml. And then we will say run that file. and it successfully appended to the table that we created. So here's what it did. It found the existing ingestion script, it created a new append script, and then it ran that script. Now we can query the updated table to make sure it looks right. And if we wanted to, we could merge it totally into main. For now, we're just going to check my main branch that we appended this to. I'm going to go ahead and grab the query in Claude's response, and I'm going to put it directly in Claude and have it run that. It'll wrap it up into the command it needs to, and we'll say yes to that. And then it will go and query our table again to make sure that everything looks okay. Great. So the query executed successfully, and it looked through the data on my branch, and it saw everything as looking clean and ready to go. A nice, wonderful way to not only create a table, but append a table with data using Bauplan and your agent.